Okay, 7th graders, welcome back to math. If you remember, we are just starting our fractions chapter. This is actually day 3 of fractions. But today, actually, we start with decimals and convert them to fractions. So the opposite of the last lesson. And there's 2 strategies, kind of 3. So strategy 1 is actually the same as the last lesson, you just know it. So if you have the decimal 0.25, you say to yourself, I've been practicing 0.25 for a really long time. I know that's a quarter or a fourth of a dollar. So just know it. You look at it and you say, got it. Strategy 2 is probably the most common one, where you write it as you read it mathematically, which actually goes back to the place value chart. Everyone does this, me too. They see this decimal and they say it 0.27. Everyone does it, I also do it. But if I was going to read it mathematically, I should not say 0.27, I should say 27 hundredths. 27 hundredths. 27 hundredths. Oh! 27 hundredths. At the end, always go back to that chapter 4 strategy of what do they have in common, and sometimes you might have to simplify that. So those are the 2 main strategies. There's going to be a third one in a couple minutes here that we're going to talk about next. So we have some examples to do. Again, some people might just know 0.75 really fast and quick. Your other option, if you don't know it, there is a 5 in the hundredths place, 75 hundredths. The 1 goes in front. If you were someone that just knew it fast like that, you might say, oh, 0.75 is like 3/4 of a quarter. Guess what happens if I simplify? Same answer. Look at that. This would be a good time to pause and try the next 2. 2/200. Whole number 2. Simplify, yes. $65/100. Simplify, yes. Oh no. 65 divided by 5. Well, I guess I need a side problem. Oh, 13/20. Next 3, go ahead, pause and solve those. I'm going out of order on purpose over here. The middle one, they tried to throw us off. This one isn't 100th. This is 1,000th. Whew, that's a big one. Divide by... I'm trying to find something big to divide by. Oh, that wasn't even big enough. Have to divide again. By the way, when I was dividing by 25, you maybe noticed me pause. I was just counting quarters. Some people might have eighths memorized from 5th grade, actually. I know that there's some of the math boxes had you memorize fractions. So you might have known, just know it, 0.375. Okay, so strategies 1 and 2. These actually work for spelled it wrong. Those are the 2 strategies for terminating decimals. Why does it terminate? Because right here after 0.27, it just ends. There is another weird strategy that takes some steps. And if you look on the bottom of your notes, there is a box for steps. You should pause right now and get those steps written in. Okay, here's what's tempting to do. It is tempting to say 54/100. But guess what? We can only say 54/100 if it was terminating, if it ended in the hundredths place. Well, this doesn't end in the hundredths place. Actually, it doesn't end at all. So I cannot call it 54/100. Did you say to yourself, well, what do I do? Glad you asked. The steps said decimal equal to n? N can be anything. If your name is Nick and you want to use N, you go right ahead. But also, if your name is, I don't know, Ashley, and you want to use A, go right ahead. If your last name is Wimmer and you want to use W, go right ahead. Any variable will work. Step 2. Multiply each side by 10, 100, or 1,000. It depends on how many numbers repeat. You don't have this 0.77777, but one number repeats, so I would have used 10 because it has one number repeating. On 0.54, I'm going to use 100 because two numbers repeat. We can already predict the next one, times 1,000, because three numbers repeat. Okay, step 1, did it. Step 2, oh, I'm not done multiplying. 100 times W, 100 W. This multiplied by 100 is just like the metric system. Multiplying by 100 gets 2 spots bigger. So now this number over here on the side is 54.54 repeating. You may be thinking, I'm never going to be able to do this. Well, first of all, you have the steps written down. And second of all, this is just like riding a bike. It was probably hard the first time, and a couple tries later, you got it no problem. Okay. Step 3, subtract the original amount. So for the left side, I originally had a W, so I'm going to subtract a W. On the right side, I originally had a repeating 54, so I'm going to subtract a repeating 54. 100 W minus W. Be careful. Our friend 1 was hiding there. 100 W minus 1 W is 99 W. On the right side, you're subtracting just the repeating part, which leaves a whole number left. Step 4, divide on both sides. Why? Because there was multiplying hiding in here. 99 divided by 99 is 1. W equals, oh, still got to simplify, step 5. Who would have guessed that a repeating 5454545454 was equal to 611s? I never would have guessed that. Good thing I just didn't write 5400ths, because that's not right. Try 1 is probably pretty tough, but good news. We'll get up off the ground after we fell off and we'll try again. Pick a letter, any letter. Maybe your name is Sally and you would like to pick an S. multiply by 1,000 because there are 3 repeating numbers. When you multiply by 1,000, your decimal jumps 3 times. Now you have a whole number here in front. 213.213 repeating. Subtract what you have to start with. To start with, I had an S and I had a repeating number. Oh, not 100. 1,000 S minus 1 S, 999 S. Subtract the repeating part. Divide on both sides. One S, or really just S, what can I divide by? Oh, 3. Who would have thought that 213, 213, 213, 213 is equal to 71 over 333? But we did it. You can do it too. You can always go back to this part of the video and look back again at my steps. You can follow along with me. Also keep your notes out so you can look at those. Also don't stress because there's not as many repeating numbers as the terminating ones. You'll see more terminating ones, and most of you are more confident in that. So do not stress, and have a good day.